Walk with me through the cellar door.
A storm is coming, Francis.
A portal to a more skeptical world.
Cellar Door Skeptics begins right now. Prepare for the revolution with your hosts, Christopher Tanner and Chris Hanna.
April 5th, 2016. You're listening to Cellar Door Skeptics with your hosts, Christopher Tanner and Chris Hanna. Welcome back to another show where we get to present to you topics, articles, discussions, conversations to hopefully pique your interest, bring you some entertainment, and hell, we're even going to have a little bit of fucking fun tonight, aren't we, Chris? I don't want to wait too long because I got to introduce the most famous, the most awesome, the best ever co-host. Welcome back to our show, sir.
Yeah, that was really formal than what we usually do, and then he kind of went off and back into the normal. So yeah, that's it's great to be back. I love doing this show, man. It's a great time. We got an awesome interviews stuff going on tonight, and then we're just gonna start off with just some politics, just to get the rust off from last week, so to speak, because we went a little goofy last week. But
we did. We talked last week. So for those who are listening, if you have not checked out our show, make sure you head over to Spreaker, over to iTunes, and follow our show. But the best way to do it, honestly, is on iTunes, because you can click the automatic download and you get our new show every week, which we have only missed twice, and we've warned everybody. Once when I was moving and once over Christmas holiday. So we're very regular. We release at 8 p.m. Eastern every time. You can sponsor us on Patreon. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Spreaker, or help by downloading our show. The more interaction you get, the easier we could change our show. So, if you don't want to hear me give a stupid, silly intro or a serious intro, you can message to the show and be like, hey, asshole, don't fucking do that, But, in all seriousness, though, we've actually had a great run of shows lately. We've had, Astronomy Saves the World. We've had By Any Means podcast on. We've had a discussion about free speech versus sensibility. We've talked about International Women's Day. We've talked about all these different things, and tonight we get to bring back some old friends of ours, some people from a show that was called Prophetcast just 2 months ago. And we get to bring them back. They worked with us on the Atheist Analysis Network, and we really enjoy their company. So make sure you stick around to have that conversation. We're going to talk about what they're doing, and we're probably going to get into a little bit of Trump, because they're comedians, and we like to hear them make fun of Trump, basically. But before we get too far into it, we got to start the show off by having a conversation about the Alabama governor, because he blocks or wants to block wage increases. And so when Hannah messaged me about this, I just kind of brushed it off a little bit. I was like, whatever, another governor doing stupid, shitty, conservative thinking ideas, just trying to manipulate the system to his own advantage. But the more I read it, the more it kind of pissed me off, because not only was he just trying to block wage increases, he's giving them on the back end to other people. Isn't that right, Chris?
Oh, man. Huge amounts. On average, like $73,000 raises to people in his cabinet. We're talking doubling almost their income on the state. Alabama isn't the richest state in the union. These people are not rolling in cash and money. And if you look at their education levels and their poverty levels, Alabama is below the Bible Belt. They're in terrible shape when it comes to the people in their state that are dealing with all of the stuff that's difficult to deal with in the United States this day and age, with the income inequality and stuff. And this guy is like, no, we're not going to give you a $2 and some change raise statewide. But then he turns around and he starts giving $70,000 increases for 2015, 80% jump to their annual salaries. It says so bringing their salaries as state people who've been elected to $164,000.
Yeah, and that's insane, because where were they getting the money? Where was that money coming from? Where was that money going? And like you said, the state itself is not one of the richest in its humanistic tendencies. No. They're talking a $2.85 raise, yet they're handing out thousands and thousands of dollars. And there was a gentleman named Mark Butler, and I don't know who he works for. He's one of the representatives. Basically, he said, fuck you guys. We're taking that money back and giving it to Medicaid. Because in reality, why, if you're rich, why make yourself richer? I mean, it's that whole stereotype. But in this case, it's fucking true. The guy actually, was doing that. He instead of giving people a few more dollars an hour to be able to repurchase things in the economy. I mean, it's not like these people are hiding it under their beds anymore. If you make $7.25 an hour, which is, I believe, their state minimum, if they raised it to whatever $2.85, like $10 an hour or something like that, those people aren't going to turn around and hide it under their bed in fear that you're going to take it away sometime. They're going to probably go pay off some of their debt. They're going to go buy new furniture. They're going to buy new shoes, new clothes, new toys to play with for their kids. They're going to do all these other things. And what does that do? That reinvests the money in the economy.
Oh yeah, it's the idea of trickle down economics has been proven false by almost any respectable economist. There just is no such thing as trickle down economics. We've seen it. They've tried to do it for the last 20, 30 years, from Reagan's economic policy down. It doesn't work. All it's doing is increasing income inequality, and it's adding to the massive wealth that's already at the top. And this is a very clear case of these are probably well-off people. They've been able to garner enough money from donors and stuff to run for office, to be in major positions inside of the state government of Alabama, and they are making now $180,000, $160,000, $200,000 a year. And those people are not going to be trickling down their money to the rest of the people who didn't get this wage increase. And so that money will not be going into the local city economies, will not be going into the local infrastructure, taxes and stuff. It's just going to the rich people at the top of the state legislature and the state government. This is greed, pure and simple, and it's one of the most flagrant abuses of such power I've seen when it comes to this kind of wage stuff I ever have seen as far as the state.
It's almost like they're turning the government into a for-profit business. I mean, I know you work at a small company. I've worked for very large companies. I've worked for companies where people come to me and be like, "We're only going to be able to give you a 2% increase this year," and you're like, "Oh, okay. Well, we did really well. We had 14% growth. I know, but we can really only afford to give everybody a 2% raise."
But do all of the investors in the dividend, do they all get the exact same amount of money they got last year? Do they get more than a 2% raise?
Exactly. So, and then when the owner of the company drives in it literally a brand new Cadillac, and then his wife comes in a brand new Jetta, and his son and daughter come in brand new Jeeps, and then the other extended family come in brand new Jeeps, and then your top salesman somehow ends up with a brand new car, and you look at it and go, okay, so they took brand new cars. Yet I got a 2% increase. Now you want to tell me how that fucking $70,000 car there? Mm-hmm. So you gave them a 2% increase too, but you also gave them a $70,000 car. What if we didn't give anybody new cars and we reinvested in our people? And I'll agree with you where that's where I have the bigger problem. I actually think that some of those people can't all not be deserving of a raise, right? Some of those people probably did deserve a raise. Maybe not that large of a jump, but those people had to deserve at least somewhat of a raise. If they work hard, if they're doing what they're supposed to do, they do deserve a raise. But the difference is if we look at it and we want to distinguish how the state should run versus how, corporations should run and what we despise in corporations, we shouldn't see that in our government. And, some of me sits there and we look at, the libertarian point of view, and I'm thinking of one individual who blasts my Facebook feed with fucking libertarian stuff all the time. And I sit there and I look at that and I go, well, this government almost feels like a libertarian government. Basically, they're saying, let's whatever is profitable, let's reinvest in. Well, they saved the government a bunch of money. They got an 80% hike. That's what happens in a corporation. If the rich want to become richer because they can control that aspect of the company, that's what they do. And that's why unions came about, is because people on the top end were paying themselves so much money and nobody on the lower end was getting anything. They were separating the classes so far that that's what happened. And so at what point do the people of Alabama stand up and say, this is bullshit? We are getting swindled. We're getting completely taken. Alabama has the 48th highest poverty rate in the country. That's only 2 from the bottom, folks. This is not like a group. This is not a state that's been turned around by these amazing legislators at the top who need these really great increases in their income because they did such a great job. I mean, okay, maybe if they were 49th or 50th,
at the beginning of the term of these people, okay, that's two-place income. There is not enough growth in these states to justify 60, 70% increases in the profit or in the income of the leaders of the state. That to me, I cannot see any way that they could justify this kind of expenditure for a state that is recovering from the BP oil spill and all kinds of hoopla and, budgetary choices that are under fire from all this kind of, there's a lot of problems going on in the state, and I really cannot see how any of this could ever really be justified. Like that's the biggest thing is that what's the justification? How can you justify this when these many people are poor? They have 100 state troopers that have been taken off the road. 31 driver's license offices have been closed. Like the state's been gutted. Okay, here's an increased governor. I would love to hear an explanation, but I guarantee you won't get one.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that the governor there, he's been caught doing something similar to this before, hasn't he? I believe it was back in 2010 or something like that. That's what the article said. Is that he came under fire for the diverging the funding from the BP oil spill grant to renovate an abandoned governor's mansion in the Gulf Coast. So he's done this before. People should know. Great, give people a second chance. But look, dude, that dude stole funds to fix up a house he could live in.
It's just
instead of fixing the environment. Well, hold on. Maybe he's going to do it again. Maybe we should stop electing these idiots. What the fuck's wrong with us? Why would we elect that? But it all comes down to, we have to have a Republican and he's the best choice out of the two. And nobody ever looks at, hey, what happened if we went outside the circle and did vote third party? What happens if enough of us did that? What happens if enough of us sent a message and said, hey, we're going to stop doing this and this, and we're going to start protesting? If we look at a local level, right, we got Snyder here in Michigan, and he's poisoning people, and people are out there protesting. Do you think the Republicans are going to be able to move past this in the next election if he doesn't get impeached? Probably not. We're probably going to see another Democratic candidate that will take rise unless we don't have any good ones. But you're not going to see a Republican candidate as conservative as Snyder, as promoting a business as Snyder in Michigan, rise up again. Well, that's what they need to do in Alabama. They need to get past some of that religious funding and that religious bias and that religious desire and look at the situation and go, look, this dude's ripping us off.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit if he supports abortion? Who gives a shit if he fucking, wants to take prayer to schools? Who cares? Let the motherfucker do it because this other dude's stealing our money. For fuck's sake, he's taking our damn money. And even if you don't fucking goddamn believe, even if you, I'll explicit tag this shit right up front. Even if you don't fucking believe that we should defund or do all these other things, right? Even if you don't believe that, you should at least believe that the governor should not be giving 80% raises to his staff. He shouldn't be doing that while the rest of the state is suffering.
And if you talk about removing the governor, like this guy is really crappy. He's a terrible, terrible person and a terrible legislator or politician. Look at the Governor Snyder thing in Michigan. They said that they would need around 700,000 names in petitions in order to start for a recall for the governor. And they have to do this in a very short period of time. And so essentially this time period, you need approximately 13,000 signatures a day. Like it's almost impossible to get a recall and have a governor recanted. I would assume Alabama will be the exact same way, that it's really, really, really hard to get that asshole out of that position. And so what do? You have these people looking at this really terrible government, this really terrible setup that's been horrible. Do they think that the next Republican is just going to be a much better person? I don't understand where or why they don't say, like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm sick and tired of this. But, if people are not going to leave or get out of their two-party system, then they're voting in people that are going to screw them over. And then the other thing is, just real quick, is they talk about closing 31 driver's license offices. This is a state that is very, very conservative, and they've been toying around and playing with these things like the voter registration and the ID and the restrictive voting stuff. And so they've disenfranchised even people from voting at all. And so they've reduced the number of people that vote. They've had all kinds of problems with this. Like, this is just this nasty mess, and somebody is benefiting from it. And what I always say when something bad is happening, you follow the money. Who is benefiting from this? And right now, it's the leaders of the conservative parties of the state who are benefiting from all of this stuff through swindling and unethical practices. And those are facts. I can't go any further from that, but I can't understand why the people. So if anybody's listening to this show, if you're from the South, if you're from Alabama or anything, tell us what the hell's going on. If you have an idea, if you see this, if someone in your family is doing this, because we can't understand it. We just don't get it up here in Michigan. I mean, we have problems like this too, but the few of us that would never vote for somebody like this, why the hell do these people keep getting voted in? So put us your thoughts out there, and maybe we can talk some more about this in the future.
Yeah. And I think what's despicable mostly is nobody's perfect, right? We don't have a perfect candidate. There's no such thing. And we really wouldn't want one. We wouldn't want somebody perfect, because, I mean, there's no really such thing as perfectness in life. It would be an illogical absolute. But when we look at what he's doing and the blatantcy that he does it reminds me of Trump. And we're going to talk about Trump later tonight. But the big thing is that if you have somebody that's clearly screwing the people over, if you elect that person again just because of some aspect of your life, at some point we have to sit there and look, is your biases worth putting that man back in office? And we have to look at that in the national election as well. We, as individuals, sit around and we want Bernie. We want Hillary. Nobody really wanted O'Malley, obviously, because he didn't last very long. But, you know, we have to look at, where does Hillary stand? What is she going to do? Is she going to rob our pockets? Is Bernie going to rob our pockets? Are they both two of the same coin, or are they both not? But those are honest questions that I think us as an American public need to ask. We need to ask the questions. We need to look at the history, and we need to look at what they've done in the past and place a risk factor. To me, at this point, Robert Bentley, governor of Alabama, you're 2-0, buddy, for what you've done to screw the American public over. And so I would say you're a safe bet for getting the fuck out after this term.
Well, we also have 80% of Congress that is up for re-election in the next in November. This is a very, very important thing, because let's say the candidate you don't like. Let's say either Hillary gets in and you're a Bernie fan, or Bernie gets in and you're a Hillary fan, or even if you're part of the Republican party and whoever your candidate is, that's going to lose. We seriously have to consider the people who are incumbents. So let's say you don't like the presidential candidates. That's not a real big thing for you. How about you get involved in paying attention to who's going to be your state legislator, who's going to be your state representative? Maybe pick a more progressive or a more trustworthy Republican, conservative, or something. Like, the people that are in there are screwing you over. There's got to be a better Republican that someone's going to steal directly from you. I will say that. There has to be someone better than that. But that's something that you got to figure out. You got to find out. You got to just pay attention just a little bit, and maybe only for a couple weeks before the election. You don't have to become a political pundit or anything, but that's a very important thing, is electing the state level legislators and the state representatives, as well as the president. And we'll talk more about that later on after all the presidential primaries have been closed, and we got, we're going to talk about getting the state governments figured out. This is a great example of why that's important, because the president isn't going to screw you out directly like these guys are.
Exactly. On that note, we are very happy to present old friends of ours coming up right after this commercial break. We'll be right back with more Cellar Door Skeptics, so make sure you stick around, because we're going to be talking about Prophetcast, That Atheist Life, and fucking Donald Trump. We'll be right back, everyone.
Hello, I'm Miss B. Haven.
I'm Demanda Wright.
And we're
promoting secular feminism. And you're listening to Cellar Door Skeptics.
Like what you're hearing? Check out more Cellar Door Skeptics every week right here on Spreaker and iTunes. Make sure you come back and check out new episodes with your hosts, Christopher Tanner and Chris Hanna. And always, remember, prepare for the revolution.
Hi, I'm Ron Reagan, an unabashed atheist, and I'm alarmed by the intrusions of religion into our secular government. That's why I'm asking you to support the Freedom from Religion Foundation, the nation's largest and most effective association of atheists and agnostics, working to keep state and church separate, just like our founding fathers intended. Please support the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Ron Reagan, lifelong atheist, not afraid of burning in hell.
Hi, this is Sharon Bush, newest and most badass host of the Unbuckling the Bible Belt podcast, and you're listening to Cellar Door Skeptics.
Now, back to the show.
Welcome back to Cellar Door Skeptics. Thank you so much for sticking around through our first segment, where Hannah and I talked about Alabama governor and his overpaid staffers. But without further ado, we want to present a couple of friends of ours, people who worked with us on Atheist Analysis, Steve and Dave. They used to run a podcast called Prophetcast, ironically, and they now run a new podcast called This Atheist Life. And we wanted to have them on because every time we had a conversation with them, we had comedy, productivity, and we all learned something from each other. And these guys are really awesome and really good friends of ours. So please, welcome to the show, This Atheist Life.
You're listening to this... Oh, wait, never mind.
Never mind.
Well, I know it might feel like home here, and that you're used to coming back to our show and working with us. It's not technically the Cellar Door Skeptics, but we wanted to dive into and have a conversation with you about your podcast. So for your show, I know you guys kind of talked about on Facebook that you guys aren't recording your show, but you're active on Periscope. So what happened? Are you guys not doing a show anymore?
So we did Prophetcast for 2 years. Yeah, I mean, the answer to that is yes. But we did Prophetcast for 2 years, and then we wanted to kind of change directions a little bit. And so we tried a little bit of doing the pre-recorded, which, man, like I said, I suck at. I'll straight up admit I was not very good at it. And then so we went kind of back to the...
I enjoyed it. I'm good at everything.
Dave was good at it. Dave was awesome at it. But, I just like that live bit too much, so we just ended up kind of switching back over to kind of promoting almost kind of like we did with Prophetcast, but instead of reading the news, we just like picked a topic and kind of read about it and kind of learned about it and then tried to have a discussion about it, which was a little bit more fun. But then it's
a little bit more centered, a little more direction than just let's try to find whatever the fuck we want to talk about, and instead doing this is specifically what we're going to tackle today.
Yeah, it was really fun. Like we had Anthony Mangabosco on the show, which we've talked to before, who's amazing. Have you guys checked out any Anthony stuff, or have you chatted with Anthony?
Yeah, my old show we used to have Anthony. I've had Anthony on a couple times, and we have his proteges. I guess I call them Keith and Lindsay.
Oh, cool, nice.
Yep. So we actually had them on. I don't know, Hannah, what was that, episode 4 or 5, something like that? For this one,
it was the one for street epistemology, right?
Yeah. That's right.
Because I find it an interesting proposition, honestly. I don't know 100% how much I agree with some of it, but I do the logic behind how they deconstruct the arguments and how they have conversations with people is genius. Like, it is. Yeah. We're retarded for not thinking this. Why the hell did it take Peter Boghossian to figure this shit out?
Right to it. Yeah, no, absolutely, right. Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. Like I actually got to enact it. I want to say for the first time, but actually like really for the first time when some Mormons came to my parents' house when I was waiting there for them to come back from the store, and it was really fascinating to kind of go through like the more calm route and stuff like that. Your Bible says this, and fuck you, and you know what I mean, like slavery, which is my favorite go-to, but which I did. Don't get me wrong, because damn it, if I'm not on an atheist show or talking to someone and I don't bring up Exodus 21, damn it. But yeah, so it was fascinating though to kind of see them like try to like bust themselves out on like the faith scale or the confidence scale, and then like deconstructing what they mean by faith and pointing out like, oh, but a Muslim or a Jew has the same kind of faith you do, Mormon. So how do I use that? And fascinating shit.
So is Prophetcast officially retired then? Technically, is it official?
Yeah,
or
it's
in memoriam?
Officially retired for a couple months now.
Yeah, we dropped it like it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, we pretty much put it down, and like it was fun. Like it was a good 2 years of like, you know, I don't know, good eye-opening experience. Like I haven't gone back to listen to some of the beginning episodes, and I can only imagine.
I really don't want to.
What do I sound like?
I really don't want to.
Dude, I probably sound like even more of an asshole than I already do right now.
You gotta do the intro to the Prophetcast thing though.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Prophetcast. Today is
there you go. But the best was when Steve said it. And every once in a while, because then Steve would get animated about it, like, because you guys used to run your show after the Atheist Analysis show. So I would be fucked up as hell, and I'd be sitting in my chair, and I'd be like, "Oh, it's time for their show," and I'd be like clicking over and watching. And then one time, you must have been drunk or something. I don't remember. And you're like, "And welcome to Prophetcast."
Well, sometimes I was really excited about my show, man. I like the intro was probably one of the most fun, you know, pieces of what we do.
And it was, but okay. So if we want to go back, you know, and get serious for a second, I guess, and we want to look at what you guys did, like your show was enjoyable because the research you put into it and the discussions you had were honest. It was an honest conversation, and it was off the cuff. You know, I mean, your guys' chemistry worked really well together. And so, you know, we could all sit here and go, "Yep, we're you know, better off for not having you." But, you know, to be honest, I miss the voices. I miss the voices that came in my head sometimes because, you know, there was an honest discussion that was always had. And then, you know, there was a little bit of passion, you know, that came from some of the quirks that you guys had.
Exactly. Yeah. And go ahead, Dave. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say that Steve and I have been friends for far too long to not be comfortable with one another.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it only made sense, like, and like that's exactly right. Like the chemistry thing, like you mentioned, like I mean, I've talked to a lot of people, but like there's no one's conversations that I remember more than actually having with David's, and like being able to just not actually be afraid to say, like, here's what's really on my mind, and I don't know how to get through this.
No matter how they toss the dice, it had to be.
All right, yeah, you know what I mean. So yeah, you know, I really appreciate hearing that. That's good to know. You know, that's what kind of came off, and that was actually part of it too. Is it was also kind of neat to see the journey of, like, again, kind of just because I always went back and re-listened almost immediately. Like the show would end, and then my wife would be like, "I'll see you in another hour because you're going to go listen to yourself." Even though you literally just got that recording.
Hannah does the same thing.
Oh,
I at least wait a 24-hour period before listening to it again. You know, I would wait until the next day to listen to it.
Dude, I have to know what I sound like. I have to know what if I said, like, because I have things go through my head, and I'm like, I think I said this, and I listen, I'm like, motherfucker, I didn't say that at all. Like,
well, yeah, exactly. For me, it takes me a little bit longer to forget everything that was said during the show, and so, you know, by the next day, it's like, oh wait, that's right, we said this and we said that. I don't remember saying that shit. What the fuck? Yeah. What the fuck was I saying here?
I usually spend the night after, like, just criticizing and critiquing everything I said. I get all like, oh man, I messed up there and I should have fixed this and this was wrong. But then when I listen to it, like a couple days later when we put it out, then it's like, okay, it doesn't sound as bad as I thought it sounded.
Exactly.
And that's what makes me feel a little bit better about myself.
Right. Yeah, I'm completely right there with you on that. And that's actually like a fun segue into Periscope, right? That's actually what really like turned me on to Periscope was the same kind of thing, because I only got I usually do it sometime between like 4:30 and 5 on the weekdays, and it was like I have a 15 or 20 minute walk to the train station, so it's a nice just short little way to interact with other people and get, like, you know, a ton of questions coming out, and just, you know, mostly me being able to hear myself talk, because God, I sound amazing. And so, you know, I just love to like go through and answer questions, and it, I don't know, just kind of felt like the next stage, I guess, for kind of what I was looking for. I don't know. Dave, you don't Periscope too much more.
Well, no, I mean, I just started doing some Periscopes, and I mean, it's funny because I've already noticed a difference in the way that people react to you speaking and they react to me speaking. Like, you know, you'll get, you know, somebody will ask you about like what happens after we die or something, and you'll just be like, nothing happens when we die, we just die. And somebody will ask me, and I'll just be like, well, I don't know what happens when we die, but I'm not going to live my life worrying about it. And people will tell me that I'm taking like middle of the road positions, and they're like, fuck you, atheist, fuck you, Steve, atheist. You need
decision, you goddamn mush. Yeah. No, I've heard of that before. It's like, oh, well, you can't make a decision. You can't just jump onto one side. That's the area that a lot of skeptics get attacked for, like the agnostic position, where they can't take that final step. Well, the scientific perspective usually takes that, just short of that absolute. And I mean, nobody gives them too much shit for it except for the believers and the ones who have the faith already. And they're like, how can you not? Well, I prefer just to reserve it because I don't pretend to know everything. And I mean, like the atheist perspective, I can take the little bit of an assumption saying it's probably not true. Therefore, I will say more than likely there is no God. I'm comfortable with doing that, or at least the supernatural end of things. But
right, exactly.
Well, I mean, just the other day, somebody asked me about ghosts, whether I believe in ghosts or not. And I said, no, I don't believe in them. But the evidence, quote unquote, that people have presented, I mean, that's fascinating. But the problem is we can't reproduce that evidence. So I don't know if ghosts exist or not, but I don't believe in them, and I got called out for being in the middle of the road on that. It's like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? I don't know if ghosts exist or not. Well, I don't believe in them personally, but I'm open for fucking evidence. That is the thing. Like when it comes down to supernatural shit and shit that cannot be reproduced and proven, I'm open for fucking evidence. In the meantime, I'm not going to believe in it, but there's supposedly evidence out there, and I'm open for new evidence. If we can prove that ghosts exist, I'll change my fucking position.
Well, you got to come to Michigan. We'll go ghost absorbing.
Yes.
We call it ghost observing. We can't call it ghost hunting because you don't want to fucking offend the ghosts.
Right.
You offend the ghosts, they're gonna come back and get you.
Right.
That's serious. I'm dead fucking serious. That's literally. I had a friend, and before I became a skeptic, I guess, I believed in ghosts, and we would go ghost observing, and that's what we would call it, so that we wouldn't offend the ghost when we were out there. So
that's like this weird political correct PETA version of ghosts.
Yeah, it really does kind of sound like that.
I was a social justice warrior well before I became an atheist or a skeptic.
Right? Oh man, I remember
used to be people too. They have rights. They still have rights.
Yeah, no, and they're welcome to go check out that.
They're able to
house,
manifest themselves. They still have rights.
Yeah.
So speaking of ghosts, though, right? You're the ghost of your show, Prophetcast.
Nice.
But you do Periscope now. What do you go by on Periscope? Do you go by the same thing, or do you have a whole new nickname?
Well, Periscope is hooked up to Twitter, so it's the same handles as our Twitter account. Like Steve normally uses the at This Atheist Life, and I've been using my personal Twitter at Dave Theist. So it's directly hooked up with Twitter, so that's how people can find us to do that.
Pretty much, exactly right. Yeah. So, but yeah, we go by the name This Atheist Life now. That was what we had. Like we have, I think, was it 4 or 5 shows out for that particular handle. And I mean, I think I tried doing a show with this guy a while ago
on Wednesday. Yeah,
episode 6, and it'll be the last one for a little while because we're gonna take a hiatus. But yeah, we go.
Yeah, it's not like we're going to completely walk away from doing this. It's just that at the moment we're unable to dedicate as much time as we feel like we should be dedicating in order to keep it in the realm of good entertainment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is, like, we want to do justice by, like, kind of, similar to what we did in the past. Like, we think that, educating ourselves and being able to have a conversation is the best route of having, a civil discourse with somebody who potentially believes something different than you, or is maybe hearing something first time, or is hearing something against what they believe. And so, at a bare minimum, that's something that we want to be able to provide. Plus, again, for us, the biggest thing is community. Like, one of the things I love about, the podcasts that we have in the atheist community is that there's a lot about news and, like, things that are going on with the atheist community and religion, and, like, staying on top of that stuff is really easy to do. But I really kind of want to hear from, like, new atheists, or, people who are maybe on the fence, or, like, you know what I mean? Like, actually hear from just well, people like us, really, right?
Like, have a conversation with people.
Celebrities, yeah, exactly. Well, we're not like Matt Dillahunty or anybody that's like a known. I'm not. I mean, I am a little bit, so I don't want to brag or anything.
Everybody knows,
but you know what I mean. But you know what I mean. Like, I don't know. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So that's what we go by on Periscope now, and that's kind of the name that I think is going to stick for a little while, because Prophetcast is. It was a lot of fun, and we got 2 years worth of shows, but it also has some baggage that came with it, because there was really a big growing pain in the beginning where we had a group of people, and then we had a bit of a discourse that didn't work out necessarily in the favor of the group, and then it ended up just like reverting down to just Dave and I, and that was a big growing experience for not only just us with our friends, but as well as doing a show about something so serious. Sometimes, like, some people really take this stuff to heart. Like, I mean, obviously there's ISIS and there's people like clearly like that take the whole opposite side of where we are, literally. But you know what I mean? Like, having a conversation that's saying that you're an atheist, or even using the A word, some people are just terrified to do that. And so
well, that's why you have people who say that they're agnostic, and then if you know that you've met somebody who has not done the proper research when they call themselves an agnostic, and they don't accept the atheist label, because it's like, okay, that tells me that you don't know. I don't know either, but do you believe in this shit? Because you can be an agnostic theist or an agnostic atheist.
Well, what about you guys? Like, have you guys experienced people calling themselves agnostic because they're afraid of either using the A word, or do they just misunderstand, or like what's your guys' experience with the A word? I love
the A word. For me, it's kind of I let people call themselves what they want. I genuinely don't care, but if I'll be honest, I stop pointing it out. If they say they're agnostic, I typically try and move into, are you a secular humanist? If you're a secular humanist,
right.
I don't care. I guess if you want to call yourself an agnostic, I used to think it was a big deal in the movement. Like, when I first came out, it was a big deal to call myself an atheist. And I don't think it's as big of a deal anymore. I think the biggest thing is promoting secular humanism. But for me, I'll call myself an atheist, especially in my area, for a specific reason, because if there's others out there in my arena, I want them to understand that. And I did this on my old show, Atheist Analysis, and I was on this this Christian named John Mosman's show one time, and he asked me, well, what the hell's the difference? Why can't you just be this? And I explained to him there's really no difference. One's a knowledge claim versus a belief claim. And so I don't claim to know there's no fucking God.
Right,
exactly.
Yeah. I do claim that I believe there's no fucking God, and I'm not going to. And especially when it comes to the Christian God, I mean, if you could prove the Christian God had any sort of semblance, then great. We'd have a fucking conversation all day long. I probably would change my mind. And that's why I have to remain on that agnostic fence, because it's like, well, I would change my mind and I would become a theist again, or specifically a Christian, if you could provide convincing enough evidence. And if I'll give a little shout out to, myself, I guess, for about a month and a half ago.
Me in the past. Go me in the past.
I debated a presuppositional apologist, and I did that for a reason. Because when Hannah and I started this new show, our goal was not to replicate what we did on Atheist Analysis,
right,
or Heretical Minds. We're like, well, we grew as individuals. We're like, we don't enjoy the 3.5, 4 fucking hour conversations with Christians any fucking longer. Like, at this point, 4 hours was just like dreading. So I had a friend though.
Oh,
and he wanted to do a debate, and so it was kind of like, well, I don't want to do it. And then it was like, well, I'll fucking do it, right? Let's go ahead. Let's have this conversation. It was fun, and I'll just leave it at that. And so anybody listening should go back and check out that specific episode. And I can't remember what episode. I should probably go look that up right while we're talking.
You could also look up the episode where I talked with Cody too. I can't remember what that was, but holy shit, dude! But, man, I remember those theoretical mind conversations. Oh man.
To launch off of your comment on promoting secular humanism, I'm kind of in the same boat when it comes down to that. Like, when I identify myself, I prefer to call myself a secular humanist before saying that I'm an atheist, or it depends on the conversation, I suppose. But to me personally, I identify more as a secular humanist than an atheist, because my secular humanism dictates a lot of my moral stances, where my atheism just answers one question: no, I don't believe in a God. But secular humanism, that bleeds into everything that I believe, where I think that, it, regardless of your race or ethnicity or gender, we all deserve equal rights, and it should be none or all when it comes down to public displays of religion. So I definitely agree with promoting secular humanism. Instead of nitpicking over. I guess I was kind of nitpicking when I said, that you've met an uninformed person who calls himself an agnostic. But, at the same time, that does matter.
Hypocrisy!
I'm willing to point out when I'm being a hypocrite. But it doesn't matter as much, I guess. Like the terms matter for information purposes, but in application, I know that I'm on the same page with someone who's an agnostic.
That's what I was gonna say. You're on the same side. Exactly right. Like if you're an agnostic, cool, and we probably believe the same thing. Like great, you know what I mean? But
unless maybe,
yeah,
they could be a fascist. They still could be agnostic, but they could be a fascist. They're like,
they could be a fascist.
They could be, or they could be like Chris Hanna.
Right.
I've just never had anything, so I've never really picked on the names. That's never really been a big thing for me. I usually just ask, what have you done lately? Because obviously the things that you do, the secular humanism, it even doesn't even need that name. I don't need the label. It's like, what have you done lately? And usually someone says, well, this, and this, and then it reverts back to the Christopher Hitchens questions. What have you done? Well, what could you do that could not be done by a non-believer?
Right, exactly.
It can only be done by a believer. And it's just really, to me, it's the action. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show with Chris is we've been trying to create a little bit more of a physical activism group in the greater Grand Rapids area.
Nice.
And if we could get people, just a few more people involved, then that action is so much more important than what label you give yourself or what nitpicking you do or how you argue with your aunt and your uncle or something along those lines. Like it's just if you do something a little bit, that's 1,000 times more important than some Twitter conversation or Facebook argument you have on a wall. And that, that's where I go with it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And then actually stepping up on another thing. Whoa, I hear myself. That's trippy. Oh, now I don't. That's even more trippy. Anyways, speaking actually on, kind of stepping out and doing things in your local area, Dave and I actually, we started up a meetup group called the Maple Valley Atheists, and we actually have about 35 members right now, and we've had a couple of meetups where we watch God's Not Dead. Jesus Christ, that movie is horrid, and I have to watch the second one now. I gotta go watch it, and I'm gonna watch it for you atheists and agnostics and secular humanists and everyone that is not gonna go see it. I will suffer through it like Jesus Christ suffered for your sins. I will do that for you.
And can you record it for us? Not like off the record. Can you bring a cam in and record it for us?
I feel like the camera's gonna just burst into flame.
I'm gonna bootleg that shit. I don't want to give them any of my money. Like I was disappointed that we had to actually order God's Not Dead, the first movie, and pay for that shit in order to watch it.
Well, and
I don't want to give people any fucking money for their goddamn conservative Christian propaganda.
But Clarissa's bastards. I mean, come on, I gotta give my money to Clarissa. She was a huge.
She obviously doesn't know. She obviously doesn't know how to be involved in a good movie. All right.
So, but anyways, we started a group, and we're hoping to do more stuff. Like, I really want to look more into doing Adopt a Highway, so that way they can see Maple Valley Atheists, and they can see that A word, bringing that A word back in. They can see the word atheist in there, so that way people can recognize. That we're not just evil godless humans, because
we're also going to be involved once again in the St. Jude's Warrior Dash this year. Steve and I are doing it this time instead of just me and my wife and I. So, I mean, that's another thing that we're going to keep doing. I want to get involved in more of those charity runs and things like that and raise money under the name of atheists.
Yeah, and actually that's what I was going to say. What kind of that differs a little bit between you and I, Dave, is that I don't necessarily I identify as a secular humanist as well, but for me, my atheism actually matters a lot more to me than necessarily the secular humanism thing. Like for me, I don't know, secular humanism, I feel like I already I don't want to say it is common sense because it's clearly not to a lot of people, but it feels more common sense to me. Whereas the atheism and just how ingrained religion is and what it does in this world, to me, is a conversation that a lot of people don't have and is a hard one to have. It's a lot harder to have about the God conversation, I think, sometimes than some of the concepts from secular humanism, because secular humanism overlaps even with some religious concepts. But atheism itself is, a lot of people feel it's a direct attack on either their core values or, something they really hold as truth and as something important. So for me,
secularism. Secularism that goes against a theocracy or religiosity. So
Right.
I mean, in the same vein, if you call yourself a secularist, you can find evidence of people calling out secularism as the work of the devil.
Right,
So,
but it's not as I hate to say it's not as much of like a shock, the shock factor, but using the word atheist is it's a like, you can use secular, and I feel like people kind of do the same thing when you say you're agnostic. Like, they just go like, oh, okay, whatever.
So you're just in it for the shock value.
That's it. That's all it is. I'm trying to get famous,
exactly
man. I tried telling you guys this. Come on.
You better drop your pants on camera. But speaking
Come on. I always finish
Speaking of
first.
shock, so I want to try something different. We're going to go a little off the cuff, right?
Do it.
But I want to make sure you guys have another half hour that you can hang out with us.
Sure.
So what we're going to do is take a really quick break, and we're going to come back with This Atheist Life with more, and we're going to talk about fucking Donald Trump, because that's their favorite subject. And Steve messaged me and said, pretty please, I got a Donald Trump bit that I want to do. So we'll be right back after this quick commercial break with more That Atheist Life.
Hey, what's up? I'm Steve Hayes.
And I'm Dave Curry.
And we're from Prophetcast.
And you're listening to Cellar Door Skeptics
on the Fox News Network.
They're not affiliated with Fox.
Everyone's a Fox affiliate.
If you guys like what you're hearing on Cellar Door Skeptics, please consider sponsoring us on our Patreon page. Our goal at Cellar Door Skeptics is to help promote more science, skepticism, secularism, and humanism in the world. We want to create better content for our podcast and for you, the listener, all while trying to help promote local activism. We're going to strive to make better podcasts, and I'll tell you what, we're even going to contribute some of the proceeds to charity. So please join us over at Patreon.com/Cellar Door Skeptics to make sure that you sponsor us for as little as $1 an episode. Thank you guys so much, and prepare for the revolution.
Looking for something new and exciting, or maybe just a change from the old Atheist Show format? Cellar Door Skeptics Podcast provides listeners with hours of enjoyment each week on Spreaker and iTunes. Check us out as we talk politics, religion, science, reviews of books and music, along with the occasional interview just for a twist. Join Christopher Tanner and Chris Hanna every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern as they bring fresh content to you. Walk with us through the cellar door as we help you prepare for the revolution. You can find us on Spreaker, iTunes, YouTube, and even on Facebook.
Hey, my name is Jeremiah. And this is David from the God Theory Podcast. And you're listening to Cellar Door Skeptics. Prepare for the revolution.
Now, back to the show.
Welcome back to Cellar Door Skeptics. We have some special guests that have joined us tonight. Earlier we were talking about their podcast, their old show, Prophetcast, and their new show, This Atheist Life. And while we were on break for a second there, reloading our drinks, we were talking a little bit about some of the deconversion experiences, because they lead into our last topic of the night, which is Donald Trump. So tell us, Steve, a little bit about how you came out as an atheist and what led up to it, because from what I hear, it relates very closely to our next topic.
Like, there was a Facebook post on it, really. That's what started the whole thing. Like, I hit it up on Facebook when I okay, here's the crazy thing, and I'm going to bring it back to Alex Jones again. I'm sorry, and this is gonna blow your mind, because this is something you never hear from someone who hopefully is a rational thinker. But Alex Jones made me realize the importance of skepticism. He helped me understand the importance of evidence, and it wasn't because he had the evidence, but it was specifically because he did not, and he said he did over and 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 over again.
And you know the ironic thing is They record right next door to the Atheist Experience.
What? No way.
Yeah.
Wow, that's unbelievable. I had no idea. Well, you mean they used to, right? Like, are they? I mean, like in their new location? Or are you talking about when they had their public access TV?
The public access TV one.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Like I said, that guy had me going down. Like my wife probably would divorce me if I was still into him, dude. It was a horrible phase where I was totally into him until, like I said, there was just a point where I don't even remember what the hell it was about. He was just like, hitting that paper. I was like, I have the evidence right here. Right here! It's right here! And if you just go to my website,
I'm sure.
Website. I mean, he just screaming.
I'm sure that Alex Jones is a completely reasonable person when he's off the air.
Yeah,
you know what? That's the thing that always gets me about radio people that you always hear is the ones that are like slamming papers into their microphone, like the sound effect somehow makes them a little bit more reliable. I don't know.
The passion, like I got caught up in how energetic he was, and I really thought he had it, and then like I said, it was just.
Let me tell you, everybody.
Was not there.
The Illuminati wants to put chips in our brains.
They are right there. They have Obama killed
the
Scalia.
Way the Obama administration is ruling our lives.
Exactly. They killed off Scalia, and now they're going to come for Donald Trump. Just you wait. You will see it.
Scalia was an inside job.
Oh, man.
President Obama put out a hit on Judge Scalia.
And he actually said this, by the way.
Oh, we know. What does he talk about Trump? Doesn't he say shit about Trump too? He's not a big Trump supporter, is he?
Oh no, isn't he or he was? I'm thinking of
probably Cruz, right? He's got to be a cruiser.
He's cruising.
He's cruising.
Cruiser.
He's cruising. Thinking of.
Speaking of shitty ass people, though, so let's have a conversation about Donald Trump. We kept you after the break. We wanted to have that conversation because you two bring the comedy value to your shows. So you guys brought the comedic value to it. It was kind of funny because you would just want to analyze some of the situations. You would make fun of them. So I thought, hey, while we had you here, why not have a conversation about Trump, right? Because Trump is a comedic aspect. He's a horrible individual. And
businessman.
So he said some controversial things, but he's just like a gold mine for podcasting. Like this is like me and Hannah had this conversation. We're like we almost have enough material, no matter who wins on the Democratic side. It doesn't fucking matter. If Trump wins on the Republican side, we win. If he wins on the or he goes independent, we win. And we don't win because he's just a delegate. We win because it's comedic value. I mean, he's like he says things that are intelligent, like things that are intelligent.
He doesn't say anything that's intelligent. I completely disagree with that statement. He does not
but you don't know Donald Trump that way.
Yeah, I mean,
Trump knows things.
Yeah, he emails Christopher all the time. I've seen some of it. It's forwarded to me, man. Like,
and it says emails in this. I am intelligent.
At this point, I mean, we have the polling and we have the studies that show. Yeah, he knows words. He's got words.
2 Corinthians.
But I mean, at this point we have the polling that shows that like you said, whoever wins on the Democratic side is beating Donald Trump. Sure, Bernie Sanders is beating him by a larger margin than Hillary Clinton is, but at this point, for me, I'm just sitting back and enjoying the freak show that is Donald Trump.
Well, yeah.
Like, it can only get better from here because, oh man. Like you said, podcasting gold, comedic gold. It's unreal.
But doesn't it scare you, or doesn't it make you nervous, or like, I don't know, freak you the fuck out, like how many supporters he actually has, though? Because this is like, I was thinking my country was decent, and the number of people that I see with like Trump stickers, at least in my area, I'm questioning whether or not this. I mean, not even questioning. I'm realizing now why so many other countries fucking hate us.
I was actually thinking about this earlier. I'm not too worried about Donald Trump and the numbers that he's getting, because if you look at the way that the Republican primaries were set up, we had fucking 16 people that were running for president at the beginning of the Republican primaries. And so he's been consistently getting enough of a delegate margin to beat that number of people. Like if the Republican Party would have only had like 3 or 4 people from the beginning, I don't think his numbers would be as drastic as they are now, because it would have been, the Republican Party would have been more condensed in who they would have been supporting. Because if you look back at the beginning, I mean, sure, the majority of the people were only getting like, less than 10%, but that's still percentages that are being taken away from Donald Trump. Like, he's only really getting like 30-40% of the votes in some of these areas. Like, the Republican Party is incredibly fractured right now. They did the fucking studies in 2012. They did the fucking studies. They did the polling. They did the fucking, interviews of people, and they know that as a party they are dying and they need to change their shit, but they didn't fucking do it. They didn't listen to the people in the Republican Party. Dave. And I honestly think that, I honestly think that Donald Trump is going to turn off so many Republican voters. Like all of these young people that are coming into the Republican Party, he's going to turn them off, because we have evidence showing that the younger generations are becoming more and more liberal. And they're going to look at Donald Trump and the way that the Republican Party is supporting him and say, I don't want anything to fucking do with these people. I don't agree with this whatsoever.
2 things. Donald Trump's lips will always turn me on. And 2, none of what you said is funny.
Of course it's not funny, because it's real, motherfucker. It's politics, bitch.
We introduced his comedic value, and it was like, damn, that was real.
See, right, you bring the comedic value, I bring the seriousness.
Well, and the thing with the Donald Trump aspect is so there's a podcast I listen to called Dan Carlin. I don't know if either of you have listened to it, but he does 2 different types of podcasts. One called Hardcore History, and then he has one called Common Sense. The Common Sense one is the one I listen to. It's a political one, and he's like an independent. So he doesn't fit either side of it. He's an actual independent. He presents both sides very fairly. Right. But and he talked before, and Hannah and I've had this conversation a little bit. The Trump and the Bernies of the world are bringing that anti-establishment out. So we could go either which way, right? If we go anti-establishment, it could open up the door for 2 parties. If we go both establishment, we could see extreme people worse than Trump. But recently, the last podcast he had last week, there was a conversation. He was talking about Donald Trump's actual views. So originally it was, hey, in reality, it's good to have more people because we're going to probably win out. And if Trump loses, we may see a little bit more of an extreme. But then it just kind of depends on where the Republican or the Democratic Party falls, and if they open their doors, because Bernie's pulling Hillary left as much as she doesn't want to. He is
but
pulling
that
left.
She's going to snap center right once she gets into that office.
She will, and you're right. You're 100% right, Dave. The difference though is that right now he's pulling her left, and so what it's doing is eventually we're going to move the party farther left. It'll happen. It might take a little bit longer, but. Now Dan's talking about how much he can't stand Trump to a point only because of how the ideologies are flowing in. And if we actually examine and stopped, and I have a couple of examples, one about the abortion and one about waterboarding. If we actually stop and look at what the fuck he's saying and how he's not only talking on both sides of his mouth, but how he's talking about retribution against families versus individuals, we can actually see a very fucking disturbing trend.
Yeah, see, and that's kind of what I'm talking about, where Donald Trump, he's speaking specifically to a small portion of the Republican base. He's speaking to those very, Christian, not even really extreme Christian.
Not too Christian.
Yeah, 2 Corinthians people. He's talking to a very small base of people who think that it is a good idea to just nuke the Middle East. It's like, no, that's not a good idea at all. You guys are fucking stupid. You don't know anything about, international law or anything about fucking policy with other countries. It's like,
he doesn't know anything about anything. He doesn't know anything about abortion. He doesn't even know what it doesn't even seem like what pro-life even means. Like, it sounded like in the clip that I watched, like the dude had to, the interviewer had to remind him. Like, remember, pro-life means, that you think that, abortion's killing babies, right? Murder, the whole thing, right? You remember that? It's like, oh, yes, yeah, of course, sorry. searching my hair. Like,
I was watching the BBC, and they had a really awesome, just a little excerpt from a show called Hard Talk, and it had Henry Rollins on there, and he's the guy that I usually like to follow, and he gave one of the better descriptions of what Trump followers are, the people that he's tapping into, and he says that the people that he believes, that Henry Rollins believes that Trump followers are tapping into, is like they're sick and tired of what's going on, but they don't have time to get involved in the political system. They have a bad education. They've had, they've been left behind by middle America, and they don't have time to try to learn and try to get to college and try to do stuff because they have 2 jobs and they got to drive the one car from one job to the other job while they eat some shitty fast food because they don't have time to cook. Yep. And they're hoping that car won't break down on their way to that second job. Those are the people that are so upset and so frustrated. And when you say, like, these people are the result, or these people are the reason why the result, that you're unhappy, that you're poor, that you're having a difficult time.
The blatant bigotry, right.
So these people, he's giving them the scapegoat. And in a religious ideology, they've always had a scapegoat to give it to. And I mean, that's he's catching these people in a moment of vulnerability. And I think that's the demographic that he's catching. And I mean, the really, really religious people are going to go to Cruz because, let's face it, he is an absolute zealot. He's the poster boy. Yeah.
He is.
And so,
he's
those guys.
Not going to say poster boy. His face does not really have the poster boy type of thing. It's more like from his neck down. We can just says Ted, Cruz right there. I'll look at his chest.
And so, I mean, with that, like the Trump demographics, it's tough to figure out. But if we look just at like what he's saying, which is what we've basically got lined up with talking about waterboarding and abortion, it's just the insanity of his arguments. If you spend any time and dig into it, which these people, the ones I'm talking about, they don't have time to. They don't even have internet to do that. Like they're dealing with. They're behind and they can't catch up, and there's no way for them to catch up. And Trump would actually exacerbate their problems, but they don't know this yet. And it's tough.
Yeah,
we're trying to explain it, and it's
exactly. These people, they know the buzzwords. They know waterboarding, and they know, that Mexicans are the problem, or at least they believe that Mexicans are the problem.
Terrorists,
and, pro-life,
Muslim, and things of that nature.
They know all of these buzzwords, but they don't actually understand what those positions are. And so, if you say pro-life, and then people talk about punishment for that, where the stance actually is for pro-life, it's punishment for the doctors, for the people who are quote unquote performing the murder. Instead, but he like says that and assumes that it's like, oh yeah, punishment for everybody. Punishment for everybody. Women too.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's just like you were talking about there, Hannah, was it's a big problem with education when it comes down to it. They're not educated enough. They see some media, they believe what's going on with the media, and they don't know where else to go to figure out whether or not the media is or is not lying to them. They just have to trust it because, like you said, they don't have time and they're not educated enough to necessarily know any better.
Yeah,
like
drop the mic right there.
Boom. But that's what's the scary thing is that if people aren't diving into actually what he believes, where the fuck does that leave us? Where the fuck does that leave our country? Where are we going to be if we can't get people to engage? If we can't get people to come out of the woodworks and go vote, we're not gonna be a nation much longer. We're gonna end up in the fucking dumpster. I mean, okay, so we could take the waterboarding for instance. What does Trump say about water? What does Trump say about waterboarding? Right? He's
into that. We're talking about like springboards, right? You dive into.
He said he wants to make a splash. So yeah.
And he has been. But when we looked at McCain. McCain was for, and they don't call it torture. They call it what the fuck do they call it?
Advanced interrogation.
There you go. Yes, it's insane, right? Well, it's apologetics of torture.
It is. It really is.
It's apologetic here, I mean, and he's too stupid really to know what it is. I mean, Cruz, if you watch that actual Republican debate, Cruz is like, holy shit, he knows what he's talking about. And I 100% disagree with Cruz on it because he says the same thing, advanced techniques or whatever the hell they call it, right?
Advanced interrogation, bullshit.
Yeah, But isn't that insane? Because then Trump just mama birds him, and then everybody goes, "Oh yeah, hey, well, we're still voting for Trump." And it's like, well, hold on a second, wait, he's involved in torture. He's doing something that is borderline torture. Exactly. And we could get into the definitions, but that would make for a really fucking boring Chris Hanna show, right? We could do that. But it would be funnier if we just rolled around in the torture chambers here, with each other.
See, I think it's simple to call it torture because it's specific. The definition for it is to simulate drowning someone. It's to simulate fucking drowning.
Well, yeah, it's to
that is fucking torture. Are you kidding me? I mean, that is like a primal fear that people deal with.
Well, it's not just a primal fear. You're literally depriving the brain of oxygen, and that's damaging. I mean, I'm not a scientist or anything, but I'm pretty sure that when you deprive the brain of oxygen, that actually kills brain cells. I don't know.
Are you sure?
I don't know. I smoke a lot of weed, so I have probably lots.
See, that's your problem. You've already killed.
I've already killed enough. Right. Because of all that evidence for that. Right.
The only thing I ever say about the definition specifically of simulating drowning, I don't know if you're familiar with the time. Simulating drowning.
Okay, wow.
Christopher Hitchens was waterboarded. Christopher Hitchens was actually waterboarded. He set it up that he would have people actually do it to him, and he said basically it's not simulated drowning. It is slowly drowning you. That's what they're doing.
Right.
Slowly, actually drowning you. That's the stipulation that I always say. There's a difference between the word simulating and actually slowly drowning you. That's the deprivation of oxygen and everything.
There's IRL, and then there's AOL Instant Messenger, right? There's virtual, and then there's in the fucking real world, you're actually drowning, man. Yeah.
There's the life you have on Snapchat, and there's the life you have in real life, man.
Yeah.
If you keep pouring the water long enough on that rag, you will die.
Absolutely.
So the simulation it's a little bit more than that, and that's why I like to point that out to people.
Yeah, and the Trump basically. So what he was saying is he says, okay, folks, torture. Half these guys, torture doesn't work, but believe me, it works. Okay, believe me, and he says he would authorize more than waterboarding. And so, what the fuck's more than waterboarding? Are we gonna start cutting their fingers off? Are we gonna peel fingernails
pulling out
back?
their fingernails?
No, we're gonna hook up the electrodes to their testicles, man, and actually.
Did you guys ever watch Casino Royale? Did you guys ever watch Casino Royale?
Yes.
Where you get tied up to a chair that's just the frame and it doesn't have the seat, and then you take a nice thick piece of rope, tie a bunch of knots onto the end of it, and just spin it around and slap them in the balls.
I was going to say that maybe Trump was going to try to actually give a lecture at the Trump University, and you would have to sit in for days and days.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it was. They were going to hand out you get steak dinner during the show.
While drinking Trump water.
Trump water. And what else he says? He says some people say it's not actually torture, but let's assume it is. But they asked me the question, what are we going to do on waterboarding? Well, that's absolutely fine. But we should go much stronger than waterboarding, because that's the way I feel. And if we look at that, and then we can move into his abortion statements in a minute. But if we look at what they're claiming is they're talking, he's bitching because people are getting their heads chopped off in the Middle East. And he's using it as this Christian, this Christian revolution. Yeah, persecution. There you go.
Right.
They're all persecuted, and it's fuck you, dude. How many Christians in the Middle East actually get killed compared to people that live in the Middle East? Compared to Muslims. Yep. I bet Muslims get killed 99% times more than they kill Christians. But they don't look it because he's a fucking. Well, he claims to be a Christian.
Well, we have evidence that shows that ISIS kills more Muslims than other Muslims than Christians. Mm-hmm. We have evidence for that, and I mean it makes sense. It's okay, so then if you're saying they're chopping off our heads over there, then it's okay, so then you're against the killing of Muslims because they're killing more Muslims than Christians. Yes, they will kill Christians and they will kill other sects of Islam, but proportionally, they're killing more Muslims than Christians. That's just the truth. Bare bones facts.
Yeah, and also if you try to actually analyze what Trump actually said there, it's a little difficult because it kind of feels like a fifth grader like constructed his sentence right there. Because he kind of bounced back and forth between like 4 or 5 different things, and I don't even think he used a 2-syllable word in anything that he said throughout the entire thing. So.
Well, I mean, he changes his he
knows good words. He knows
good words, and he keeps it loose. He keeps it really simple like that, so that he can change his stance 4 times in one statement.
That's
like
what I'm
his statement
saying,
on nuclear weapons. I'm taking nuclear weapons off the table, but I'm keeping all of my cards on the table. But I'm not saying that it's not going to happen. But I'm saying we have to take nuclear weapons off the table. But I'm not taking any of my cards off the table. What?
Right?
Are you a speechwriter? Holy shit!
I was gonna say, like, that sounded.
Damn it! That's what you do, moonlighting. You moonlight that shit, don't
Son
you?
of a bitch.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if you're moonlighting that, tell us why you wrote that shit about his abortion.
Yeah, honestly.
I mean, seriously, why would you say that?
Like I was saying, you just got to put out those buzzwords. You just got to say that you're pro-life and not actually mean it.
Right, or not mean it, not know what it means. There's a huge difference between not mean it and not know what it means. And
so the speech card that you give him is basically, it says at the top, just talk using these 5 words. And you just skill.
See, very.
It's just a bulleted list of 5 words, and he just has to keep saying them over and over.
It's a mess. I mean, I got to tell you, the correspondence that I have with this guy is a mess.
I used to after the debates, after he would, or not the debates, but after he would win, the different states, I used to live tweet his speeches because it drove me nuts. He would say the stupidest things. Like he would literally one time he goes, yep, and I like to call him Lion Ted. You gotta like Lion Ted because when we get down to brass tacks, Lion Ted over here, he's got his Bible in one hand. But then he puts it down, and that's why we call him Lion Ted. And you're like, what did you just say?
What does that mean?
And then he goes, but they're trying to take the Christ out of Christmas. And you're like, what? It's not even Christmas time. What is wrong with you? Christmas is past. Why are we having this conversation about Christmas now? You got to wait 6 months.
Is it just because he said Bible and that's the only thing you have is Bible, Christmas, Christ? That's it.
We complain that a lot of these politicians are just talking heads and they're just, full of all these talking points. Donald Trump is a talking point. That's all that he is. The only way he knows to run for president is to just spew out these buzzwords and talking points. And he does it like he doesn't even. I mean, there's an interview from years ago where he actually called himself pro-choice.
Yes.
But then, something happened. He evolved his stance, and now he's pro-life. And it's
didn't he also support Hillary? Like, didn't he openly?
Dude, she went to his wedding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and on top of that, he, as far as I know, he was talking pro universal health care a few times in the past. And now it's like he's trying to pander to the conservative community that doesn't want that. They want to remove or repeal or severely.
We got to get rid of Obamacare, right? We got to get rid of Obamacare. We got to make something much, much, much better. It's going to be very good, very great. It's no longer going to be a mess.
Right. It's not a mess. It doesn't cost much money.
Obamacare is a mess.
And because I'm going to put a wall up, and when I put that wall up, they're not. They're going to pay for it too. You know that, folks. Folks, they're going to pay for that.
Pay for that wall.
Let me tell you.
Pay for the wall.
Let me tell you, they're going to pay for the wall, and it's going to be very cheap.
Very, very cheap.
It's going to be made with my steaks, as a matter of fact. Literally, it's going to stack them up.
Why is it going to be cheap, Don? Is it because you're going to hire Mexicans to do the job?
Oh, no. That's bad. Come on, Hannah.
No, that's exactly what he does. Mexicans
I would not be surprised if soon he comes out with a idea that all of these illegal immigrants that we have in the country, those are going to be the people that are going to work on the wall, and when they're done with the wall, he's going to ship them all back over to Mexico.
Right. Yeah, he would say like, okay, they have to build a wall from that side, and then once you're done building the wall, like he literally said that he's going to have Mexico. He's going to make Mexicans build the actual wall. And former president of Mexico was like, "We're not going to build the fucking wall." Like the guy actually said the F word. It was beautiful.
Unbelievable.
So when we look at his abortion stance, though, because I know we've walked into a wall here, but when we look at his abortion stance, on his abortion stance, he said three different things. He used to be pro-choice, now he's not. Right. He's pro-life, probably because of the presidency, because he's been gearing up for this for a while. Right. But what he's basically was stating was that he wouldn't just subject the abortion provider to repercussions. He's going to subject women because he thinks it's murder. And he says, well, I don't disagree that it's murder and all that. And he's going to basically punish women for going and getting abortions.
Exactly.
I mean, if you look at if you look at murder laws, I mean, that's the logical conclusion. If pro-choice or if pro-life organizations say that abortion is murder, I mean, if you hire a hitman to kill your neighbor, you're going to jail as well.
Well, yeah, but does that hitman have an 8-year degree? I mean, that's the other thing. Like, this isn't something where you're just, coming. I mean, like, this is sometimes medically necessary as well as, a sound, responsible way to handle a pregnancy. I mean, I don't know. I understand your analogy, but like, it's just mind blowing to think. Like that's somehow.
I'm just saying that if you look at abortion in the same way that you look at murder, the laws that we have for murder right now, you can go to prison for being an accessory to murder. So if you look at abortion as murder, the woman is an accessory to that murder. The doctor performs the murder.
Hold on. Okay. I will grant you that, David. I mean, if you think about it, right? If Trump, all he is a bunch of billboards and sayings and clickbait. That's really what he fucking is. Just a big clickbait candidate. If that's all he is, and he literally has done zero research and is literally just going off of, well, abortion's murder, therefore I want women to go to jail. I mean, I guess I can grant that. That if we could take his intelligence level down to that, I just can't imagine he's that unintelligent of an individual. I mean, he scammed the government for fucking 4 bankruptcies, so he can't be that unintelligent.
Well, I mean, you can you have your specialties, right? Some people are good at
book smarts versus street smarts.
Is that a thing? Honestly, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
Maybe he graduated from the School of Hard Knocks.
Oh, shit. No, he did not. He was granted all that lovely cash of his.
But in reality, though, okay, so how damaging really is this for the Republican Party? So we've looked at some of the articles tonight, and some of them basically say this is really damaging to the Republican Party. But for fuck's sake, look at Kasich. But think about it. I was actually, on the fence about this guy because in his opening speeches, the first debate, he didn't talk about God till after he talked about the human race and his family first. He almost felt like he was an atheist or, an on the verge atheist because he didn't try and push the religion side of it. But then he defunds all Planned Parenthoods no matter what in Ohio. So we sit there and we look at it and we go, okay, well, he's the next runner up, or we got Cruz, and Cruz is fucking Tea Party, pro-life. Yeah. I mean, he's so far right, it's not even funny. So really, what does the Republican Party have to lose? All 3 of the fucking candidates that are left are so far right on the abortion stance that it's not even funny. I mean, Trump can't hurt them any more than these other ones do.
Yeah, Trump is basically relying purely on what Dan Dennett would call a logic pump in those situations. Like he's got an if, then, this, there, and then it just ends every time at just, like what Dave was working through with that logic step. It's if this is murder, then anybody associated with it is murdering. They should all be punished in some way. And in the actual interviews, Trump doesn't say exactly what he would do to the women. He just says that there should be punishments. They should be in trouble. They should have some kind of. And so, I mean, logically, saying that abortion is murder at any stage of I guess fetus, any stage of fetal development, if any stage of that abortion is murder, then anyone associated with it is either a murderer or associated.
Yeah, guilty by association.
And so, that's a logic pump.
Yeah, if you want to classify it as murder, then, we already have laws in place for murder. I mean, it's like, I'm completely, against that position, of course. I believe that the government needs to stay the fuck out of the relationship between a doctor and a patient, and I will admit that when it comes down to viability, that's where I think that we should have limits on abortion unless we have evidence to show that there are extreme deficiencies in the fetus, or if it's going to be damaging to the mother. But
I was going to say it. Yeah.
It's totally pro-choice. It's not my fucking position to get involved in that.
Yeah, I was going to say, and it's not even also, I think that, I don't think that it's also just, it has to be some kind of, medically, traumatizing or potentially dangerous situation. I think that if a woman doesn't want to carry a fetus to full term, that she also has the right to choose that as well.
But I mean, really, how often do the women who are like, been carrying a baby for 7 months and then they're all of a sudden like, yeah, I don't want it anymore.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily that far. I'm just saying, even in the beginning too, if someone gets pregnant, I'm not saying, I don't think that people actually look at abortion as a means of birth control. I don't think they look at it as like, just going on Thursday during my lunch break, gonna, go just, get that done real quick, like I did 2 Thursdays before. You know what I mean?
I don't think that should matter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. It shouldn't matter at all.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter because it's not our fucking bodies.
Exactly.
We shouldn't get to make that decision. That's not
exactly right.
That's a decision that a doctor and a patient need to make, and I trust doctors far more than I trust our government. So I'm willing to think that there are doctors out there who are. And I mean, even if we don't have restrictions on viability or when it can happen, I'm sure that there are doctors out there who just morally and ethically will say, no, I'm not going to perform an abortion after, once it's viable, because they're fucking doctors. They know the science behind it.
One would hope they know the science behind it. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I would hope they know the science. There's a couple that maybe not so much.
But what the big thing is, though, is back to the Trump aspect, is we look at where he is and what he's been saying, and if you look at what he said about the torture and the waterboarding, and then you look at what he says about abortion, it almost is leading him as an individual into what they call, and I looked this word up, and you have to forgive me, Germans, for slaughtering this word, but it's Zeipenhaft, which is
Zeipenhaft.
Zeipenhaft.
You got to say it angrily.
Zeipen. Anyway, it's called kin liability, and it's been around since the medieval times, right? And it's the idea that your family should have to somehow pay for something that happens, and that's the same way. So even if if we looked at abortion as murder, which I don't agree with that at all. Yeah. Even if you looked at that, they're not the ones performing an abortion. They're not the ones that they could claim that they were under duress. They could claim all sorts of things. So in the end, what he's doing is he's extending what he disagrees with, what he believes should be law, farther to more people. And that there's examples of that, and we don't have to get into it because Hannah told me that it would be a horrible, horrible thing for us to get into who this exemplates. But there's many, many examples of this shit happening in other countries, and it's not a socialist idea. We'll just put it that way.
Oh well, I mean, it's when it comes down to we already have in states we already have laws in place that put blame on the mother when they have an abortion or when they even have a miscarriage. I mean, I want to say it's
shit. We have laws to fucking put them through some torture. To be honest with you,
no, I mean
a heartbeat or some shit like that. Like
there are. What I'm talking about is that there are laws in this country, and people can look this up. But if a mother has a miscarriage, they will do an investigation into the mother, and if she has any kind of history of like drug use or any kind of unscrupulous past, they will put blame on that miscarriage on the mother, and they will actually charge her for for basically manslaughter. Like we have it's already happening. There's already punishments and laws out there that will punish the victim in these sorts of situations.
Well, here's a recent happening. This was 3 days ago in Texas. A woman was forced to deliver a stillborn baby due to abortion ban. So the stillborn baby, they said you can't abort it, and so she was forced to go through a full-on delivery of an already stillborn baby because of a rule that obviously places a stillborn and a procedure as more evil than the psychological well-being of a woman.
Exactly. That's what I was just going to say. Like, Right? Like we know that there's PTSD with people who come back from war. Could you imagine what that would be like? Like it almost feels like to me that they don't even think about the concept of like after the abortion, the fact that, it's a person who has, went through this procedure type of thing, like or didn't in this case. In this case, didn't go through it and gave birth knowingly what was going to happen. Like psychologically, what the hell is going to happen to her? Like, I don't even know what I would do if I had to sit through that kind of thing.
I was just going to say, if I had to sit through that and go through that with my wife, I mean,
my relationship would never be the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It would be a life-changing event.
It's situations like this, which is why many pro-life organizations are coming out to point out the fact that Donald Trump is actually not pro-life, because he wants to blame, in their view, the victim of these procedures. He wants to blame the mothers, where, they are far more sympathetic. People can identify and sympathize with the mothers that choose to perform abortion. They want to demonize the doctors who do it, and they want to punish those people. But like you said, Chris, or Christopher, it's an extension of his view on torture and on punishing terrorists, where he's come out to say, we should not only punish terrorists, but we should go after their families. And bring that over to abortion. We should not only punish doctors, but we should punish the women who engage in abortion.
Yeah. And and who knows how that may extend it out as well, because like I said, to the families, it could be, anybody who is involved in even financially supporting her decision to, to do this. So if she's married and this was a joint decision, potentially it could affect the whole family, right? Maybe they take other kids away from her because she is it now, now she's a murderer, so she's a threat to her other children, and so is her husband because he funded the murder. He paid the hitman.
Yeah, he drove her down there,
And he drove her down there. Exactly.
Came out of his bank account.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, who knows
where does the blame stop? Where does the blame stop? And it doesn't. It doesn't stop in his position. It just goes down the line until we get it to a point where, we are in such a state where going against the supreme leader in any fashion would be enough to get you thrown in jail, or, I wouldn't be surprised if he's in favor of capital punishment. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, he seems like he's saying, like, make America great again. I'm pretty sure the era that he's referring to is the Dark Ages.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say the same thing, right? Yeah.
I mean, whatever happened to witch burnings? I mean, back in the day, we would just be able to burn witches.
Right. If they weighed as much as the duck, then we just burned them. It was simple.
I mean, these doctors are basically doing witchcraft here.
As we wrap up here, because we do have to wrap up. We can't spend 6 hours. It's not an atheist analysis show, for fuck's sake.
No, this is not.
Wrapping up is probably the best way to avoid abortions.
Yeah, no, abstinence only is, which we're going to talk about this upcoming Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific time.
Plug.
This atheist analysis.
Shameless plug.
Not this This Atheist Life. I like that. This atheist analysis. I spun those two together. Bringing back the old show with a new name.
There you go. It would be anything.
Cellar Door Life.
Cellar Door Life. This is Cellar Door Life. So thank you, Dave. Thank you, Steve, for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure to reminisce a little bit, and it is. I'll admit I'm a little sad. Prophetcast has gone away, but I'm excited for what's on the uprise, and hopefully maybe you'll do more than one show every 6 months or something.
Every 2 weeks, yeah. Well, I mean, like we said, it's we're just taking a hiatus from this until we can organize our lives better to actually put in the time and effort to make a quality show.
But my ass, since I want to get famous, my ass will be on Periscope, so you can be damn sure that I'll still be.
Can you do joint Periscopes? Maybe we should do joint Periscopes one time.
Dude, that would be cool.
I'll walk around Sealand, and you'll walk around wherever the fuck you live. I don't even know where the fuck you live.
Well, see, it was funny because Steve was doing a Periscope, and he gets like 80 to 100 people or some shit on his scope, and
700 usually.
I tried,
thank you.
Whatever. I tried to do a scope at the exact same time that he did one, and I didn't get anybody watching mine, and I even put the atheist word in there too. Yeah. It's like he just attracts all of the people who want to bash on atheists.
People like
he's secretly paying them. That's why.
That's part of it. Well, I'm paying them to get on and to mention my hairline. I was gonna say that earlier, Dave, when you were complaining about how, people say that I take a medium stance. Well, at least they bitch about your medium stance. They bitch about my hairline most of the time. So I don't even want to. I don't even care. Yeah, a bunch of trolls.
So tell everybody real quick where they can get a hold of you if they ever want to listen to your up and coming shows that are going to happen at some point in the near future, and how they can find you on Periscope.
Yeah, sure. So on Periscope, you can find us periscope.tv/This Atheist Life. We also have the domain thisatheistlife.com, which I'm probably just for now just going to end up pointing to our Periscope, but eventually you'll be able to go to thisatheistlife.com, and then we're going to push ourselves up to Podbean, which will then go to iTunes, Stitcher, all that kind of stuff. So kind of just like we did with Prophetcast before, try to hit all the main outlets. But again, kind of for now, it's mostly just going to be periscope.tv/This Atheist Life.
Well, Steve's going to do all that with our show Periscope, but my Periscope is just my Twitter @DaveTheist. And I'm not going to be as in-depth as what he wants to do. So,
but you'll see Dave take his shirt off or wear sleeveless shirts.
He'll Periscope when somebody steals his sleeves, like they did, and hopes that someone sees him on the road.
And we'll give them back.
Exactly. Yeah. Like he really needs those things.
Yeah.
So thank you guys. Thanks for sticking around. Thank you to all the listeners. Make sure you all stick around, because next week, Tuesday at 8 p.m., we're going to have another amazing show. One, we're going to talk about breastfeeding with Tiffany. We're going to talk about Chris and his hearing loss, because we know we have to talk about it. And we're going to do another crazy shit Chris who used to believe. Thank you for sticking around. Make sure you support us on Patreon, Spreaker, on Facebook, and on Twitter. And have an awesome fucking night.
You've been listening to a presentation of Cellar Door Skeptics. Check us out on Spreaker, cellardoorskeptics.com.